Okay, time for a new video, and whether you are somebody new to my channel or you are returning to my channel to watch this video, it is greatly appreciated. As always, I'm filming this video in one go, therefore I apologise in advance if I stumble over my words going forwards, and indeed if the quality of this video is fairly poor as well. If there's any lag, anything like that at all, sadly it cannot be helped, and hopefully it is not too much of an issue for you. This is yet another Eurovision 2021 related video here on my channel. Yesterday I told you about my first proper prediction, for the results of the first semi-final of this year's upcoming Eurovision Song Contest, which is scheduled to take place next month at the Ahoy in Rotterdam in the Netherlands. Today, the same thing again, but for semi-final 2. I have my notice board in front of me, so if I keep looking down, you know why. And I've rearranged all of the slips of paper. Earlier today, and indeed yesterday, and even last week, I was thinking about how the juries are going to rank these songs, then how the public are going to rank these songs, then thinking about how each performance might come across on stage next month in terms of props and pyros and lighting and all of that business, thinking about any live performances we've already had of these entries, and I now have a first proper prediction. I'll say it again, as I did in my video yesterday, I wouldn't take this too seriously, it's just a bit of fun. Loads of people making predictions at the moment for this year's contest, and I'll probably be making another video at the end of this month with updated predictions, and then during the week of the contest I'll be telling you my final predictions the day before each semi-final. So that will be on the Monday and the Wednesday of that Eurovision week, Friday for the grand final, of course. I think semi-final 1 is stronger overall. That doesn't mean I think semi-final 2 is weak. I think it's really strong as well, just as difficult to predict. We've got 3 or 4 sure qualifiers. I'd be amazed if any of these 4 entries miss out. And then really it's anybody's game. I'm not sure we have an absolute definite non-qualifier in this semi-final. I did say North Macedonia for semi-final 1. So yeah, I'm just going to get straight into it. Let me know your thoughts as always. Please respect my opinions as I will with yours. And as always, links in the description to my other social media pages too. Check them out if you so wish. So I'm going to go through this in order, beginning with the country that I think will win this semi-final, and it is Song 16 on the night in question being Thursday the 20th of May 2021, of course, Switzerland. One of the favourites to win, John's Tears with Tout l'univers, all the universe. And this song was originally apparently going to be in English, called Ground Zero. I think having this in French is absolutely the right idea. It's a beautiful song, beautiful melody, so powerful, haunting almost, and I think a lot of that feeling comes from his vocals. His falsetto is sensational. He's still so young. He's got such a promising career ahead of him. Really likeable figure as well. And last year, Répondez-moi, that was an absolutely brilliant ballad. This year's entry is also sublime. It's got a little bit more energy to it, bit more instrumentation to it as well, and there's no way that this is finishing anywhere other than the top 3 in this semi-final. The juries will go nuts for his voice. The public should dish out plenty of love as well. It's a serious contender to win the whole thing next month. Of course, Switzerland's won twice before, the very first contest, and then again in the late 1980s with Celine Dion, of course. Things I've written down here. Oh yes, I'm hoping a lot of people don't compare this to Arcade. They will if next month, in that rehearsal footage, we see John sitting behind a piano. The Arcade comparisons will come. I've already seen a few people say that this is very similar to Duncan Lawrence's Winning Act from 2 years ago. But this is its own thing. And it all depends, I guess, on whether viewers this year gravitate towards the up-tempo songs and dismiss the ballads, or whether they're actually in the mood for a ballad once again. We'll wait and see. Switzerland will be up there in the final. They've just absolutely turned a corner over the past few years. Absolutely remarkable. I mean, 10 years ago, we had Anna Rossinelli come last in the grand final, and Switzerland, you know, they didn't really qualify very often at all, but now they're looking really strong. And if Switzerland win, great. Bern 2022, here we come. Let me know your thoughts. Anyway, qualifying number 2, Bulgaria. This is obviously going through without breaking a sweat. Growing Up is Getting Old by Victoria, another very promising young female musician in this year's field. Last year, Tears Getting Sober was the favourite to win at the time of the contest's cancellation, and that song, very pretty, but I couldn't quite understand why it was the favourite to win. This time around, I think Growing Up Is Getting Old is a better song, my personal opinion. Just as beautiful, just as melancholic. It's got this really strong nostalgic vibe to it. You especially get that from the music video, which I think they might try and recreate on stage. I've said this before on this channel. I can see Victoria sitting on the stage to begin with, but with all these photographs dangling down on strings around her, maybe photographs of her younger self, giving it a very powerful, poignant feel. I think this builds up very nicely as well. It's not quite as Billie Eilish as last year, which is great. And of course, there wasn't really a national final for Bulgaria this year, but Victoria released an EP. She said all of the songs on this EP will be contenders for me at Eurovision. Leave comments on this website telling me which one you prefer. And I thought Imaginary Friend was going to come out on top. But no, it's this one. I think this was the right choice. It's a really beautiful track. And it's going to go through easily. Plenty of jury love as well. Number 3. Maybe a few places too high, but this is just how it's ended up. Finland. This is Blind Channel with Dark Side. Now, this song's already doing very well in its homeland. It's an all-male group. It's got this early Linkin Park new metal thing going on, which I can appreciate. The vocals at UMK weren't too bad. This is a very angsty, quite aggressive sort of song, but not anywhere remotely like Viszlát Nyár, the Hungarian entry a few years back. I think how this is going to be staged at the Ahoy is very similar to how it was staged at the national final a few months ago, so with the red and black lighting, and I think there were podiums as well where the drummer was sitting and everything, something like that. I don't think we're going to get too many radical changes here. It's a great Finnish entry, strongest effort for years, and of course Finland has such a great rock scene, so it almost feels as though they're sticking with their roots almost with this particular entry. It was an absolutely crushing victory in UMK. I think it was the right choice, and this is going to do very well indeed in the semi-final. In the final, I'm not too sure. Maybe scraping into the top 10, I really don't know. Fans were loving this around the time of the national final in Finland, but now other songs have obviously entered the mix, and this one's just been brushed aside ever so slightly. But it will stand out a mile. It's one of only 2 rock songs this year, pretty much. Qualify for 4th place, Iceland. This is Dari and Gagna Magnet with 10 years. We know what they're going to wear on stage in Rotterdam. It'll be those teal superhero type outfits, which I think Dari made with his wife, which is quite impressive. This song, it's really nice. It's very disco, funky. It's got a slight Jamiroquai feel to it. Think About Things, last year's effort by the same act. That just ended up being a huge viral hit, of course, charted in the top 40 here in England. Absolutely remarkable, especially because Eurovision didn't even happen. So I think 12 points from the British public would have gone to Iceland last year, and it's very possible Iceland would have secured their first win. This effort isn't going to win, in my opinion. I'd be very surprised, unless we have a 2011 year, where a country that's about 7th or 8th in the odds sneaks through and wins in the end. Iceland, it's not going to happen for them this year, which is a great shame. I think we all sort of expected something very similar to Think About Things. This just feels like a bit more of a watered down version of that entry last year. Dari's great. I like the awkward choreography again. It's very sweet. The lyrics are about his wife. Last year it was about his young child, and now it's his wife. Wonderful stuff. It's very charming. They might try and recreate some of the music video on stage, the story of the music video on stage. I don't know. I think the live version is much better than the studio version. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. I was going to have Iceland 3rd, not 4th, so above Finland here. But I don't know. It's a difficult one to predict, of course. I'm not expecting loads of points for this Icelandic entry. In the final, top 10, I can see that happening, just not winning. Number 5, Greece. This is Last Dance by Stefania, who is the youngest act in this year's contest once again. She's originally from the Netherlands, represented the Netherlands as part of Kisses in Junior Eurovision several years ago. Last year's effort, Supergirl, that was fine, nothing wrong with it at all, a very credible pop song, but it almost felt more suited to junior Eurovision. Whereas this year's song, it feels a bit more mature, it feels more ready to go for the grown-up contest. The music video, quite fancy, all these references to Greek mythology and everything. Maybe they'll try and recreate that on stage. I did read the other day that they have very big plans for the staging indeed, so this performance is very likely to stand out an absolute mile next month. Hopefully the vocals will be good. I really like her, and this has just got a really good pulsating pop beat. Really nice track. 5th place in this semi-final, maybe that's a bit high. We could have a situation very similar to 2019 where Katarine Duska for Greece went through without really breaking too much of a sweat, and then in the final really struggled. Maybe something like that might happen again, but this song already has quite a lot of fan support. How neutrals will view it, we just don't know, but if the staging is impressive, it will sail through. Could be a return to form for the Greeks after years of iffy results. Number 6. Now you're probably wondering when I'm going to mention San Marino. It's now! This is arguably the strongest song San Marino's ever sent. It's Adrenalina by Senate and Flow Rider. Now I have to say it, how much money did they give that man? I want to know the circumstances around this song. Was it a rejected song from another national final? Was it written with San Marino in mind? I mean, this song has about 500 songwriters, which is ridiculous. What can you say about this? People got very, very excited. Even myself, I was really very surprised indeed. Now I think some of that surprise is worn off, definitely. I don't think this is a winner, but you just never know. Senate is really likeable. Of course, she represented her country in 2011 with Stand By. Bit more of a ballad, that one, certainly. Didn't qualify. This is a really radio-friendly, polished pop song. Take Flow Rider away from it, it's still good. In fact, he doesn't even need to be there. I don't think he needs to be there, but he wants to do it. And certainly being on first in the running order means people are going to be drawn into the whole show straight away. It's a qualifier. I mean, it really is. I don't see any situation really where this doesn't go through now. There's a lot of hype surrounding it. How the juries will respond, I don't know. I'm sure there'll be a fair amount of love. Are Italy voting in this second semi-final? They're not, so that's a few points they're missing out on. But in the final, they'll be able to. Yeah, absolutely extraordinary. And maybe this is San Marino turning a corner absolutely here. Who knows? They've already said they're going to have some sort of national final procedure at the end of this year for their 2022 representative. It would be nice to see somebody from San Marino, because I believe Senate's from, is it Bologna? Somewhere in Italy anyway. But I'd like to see an actual San Marino-born artist going to Eurovision next year. Anyway, I'm going off topic. Adrenalina is a fine pop song. I'm not loving it nearly as much as other people, but it's going to go through, isn't it? Number 7. Oh, it's worth saying we've got so many up-tempo songs in semi-final 2, just as we have in semi-final 1, to be fair. They might all cancel each other out, especially in the final when we've got even more songs bunched together, which makes me think it could be a ballad that wins again this year. Let me know your thoughts on that. Anyway, number 7, Serbia. This is Loco Loco by Hurricane. Huge act in the Balkans, of course. Sanja Vucic represented Serbia by herself in 2016 with Goodbye Shelter, really underrated in my opinion. And also Knez, who represented Montenegro in 2015. His daughter is part of this trio. This is going to be sexy stuff. They said a while back that the 80s vibe of the music video is not what we're going to see on stage, and I think they also said that they're not even sure if they'll be able to travel to Rotterdam, which would be a tremendous shame indeed. I prefer this song over San Marino, I really do. Lots of public love for this, I can really see it happening. Very low down in the bookmakers' odds, the betting odds, which surprises me, because I think this is in with a very good chance of doing all right in the final. As long as it's not all about the choreography, as long as it's not all about making this as visually appealing as possible, because it can potentially end up very messy indeed, and then certainly the juries will ignore it. I hope that the vocals are on point. It's going to be sexy, sassy, fun. They're a very popular band, so points will pour in, no doubt about it. It's going through as far as I'm concerned. It's just a pop banger, really. I don't like using that term, but it is. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Number 8. Another up-tempo song, Moldova. This is Sugar by Natalia Gordienko. Represented her country in 2006 with Arsenium and Connectar with Loca. And you might remember that she just stood there and took her clothes off pretty much in that performance in Athens. This is better. She's got the She's got the dream team involved. That's what I meant to say. I'm stumbling a lot now. The music video was a little bit all over the place, very cheeky. She had people in ice cream costumes dancing. I imagine we'll get that in Rotterdam. And then at the end, she ripped off the guy's jaw and started eating it. Turns out he was a rainbow-coloured cake all along. Very bizarre. This will rely heavily on staging. In the past, when Moldova have gone big on staging and being quite innovative with how it comes across, they've done quite well. Of course, Doridos in 2018, you might remember them with the doors and everything. That really worked in their favour. Maybe something similar. I don't know. Natalia, hopefully she'll sing quite well. Somebody online said that she was very wooden during a live performance. I think when the song was revealed. I didn't see that actual performance myself. But, yeah. Again, I think there might be a bit of a discrepancy here. I think Serbia and Moldova will do much better in the public half of the results. The juries might not be as keen. We'll wait and see. In the final, yeah, I can't see Moldova making top 10 in the final. Mid-table at best. But it's too early to say. Qualifier number 9. It's another up-tempo song. It's Benny Cristo with Omega for the Czech Republic. I do see this going through. And the reason I say this is because Friend of a Friend by Lake Malawi in 2019, I really wasn't sure about their chances. And then they made the final and nearly finished in the top 10, despite a really awful mark from the public. So I'm thinking something similar could happen again this year. Not necessarily the poor public mark, but going through maybe with some ease. Benny's got a lot of energy. This is miles better than K-Mama. It's unbelievable. I really like the music video too, but we're not voting on that next month. I imagine it will be a very colourful performance, very energetic, like I said. It's catchy, it's fun, and I think there'll be equal amounts of love for this from the jury and the voting public. What else have I written down here? Yeah, expect plenty of energy. Considered a dark horse by many fans. Yes, it is. I'm not sure if I mentioned Czech Republic in my dark horse video the other day. I might have done. I don't think this is winning at all. But it might do better than we all think. I think it's going through. I really do. At this moment in time. Can't see it missing out. Looking at the other songs we've got. Anyway. Now I'm going to go from bottom up. So then I'm going to leave just 2 nations left. The one that I've put to finish 10th and just go through into the final. And then the country in 11th. Missing out by a narrow margin, I'd imagine. Anyway. Last place. Georgia. This is potentially the only definite non-qualifier in semi-final 2, like North Macedonia in semi-1. This is You by Tornika Kipiani. Last year, Take Me As I Am was more rock in style. It had this very grungy feel to it as well. This year, something a lot more chilled out. You can absolutely zone out to this song, and I'm not sure whether that's a good thing or not. It's quite sleepy. It really doesn't build up to much. His voice is fine, but I'm not sure it suits this style of song myself. I mean, the song starts and then it's over and you're wondering what on earth happened. At least that's what I've been like when I've listened to this. I don't want to be too harsh about it because I really like the gentle feel of the song. But who's going to vote for this? I really don't know. Unless there is enormous jury love and a fair amount of public love as well, it must be said. This is not going through. Georgia, no final since 2016. They've really just lost their way a little bit, perhaps. Yeah. Where is Georgia in the running order? Starting off the second half of the second semi, coming straight after Serbia, and then Albania's afterwards, and Albania, I'd imagine, will get plenty more points than Tornika. Anyway, moving up 1, Portugal's next. The Black Mamba with Love Is On My Side. The first time ever Portugal are sending a song entirely in English. That's a bit of a shame, it must be said. I'm surprised Portugal voted for this in the way they did. I think this is a bit underrated. I really do. again, relaxing, chilled out, very jazzy, very lounge bar-esque. It's an all-male group, isn't it? Male vocals are not bad at all. The performance was very plain. You just find yourself dozing off to it a little bit. I imagine some people, harsh as it is to say, I imagine some viewers will just nip out for a loo break or tea break when this is on. Portugal are in a really interesting segment of the second semi-final where there's so many ballads. So maybe one of these acts, Georgia, Albania, Portugal, Bulgaria, maybe one of them has some interesting staging planned. I really don't know. Love is on my... I really don't mind this, you know. It's my cup of tea, but it's not qualifying, is it? It's too repetitive. And Portugal, ever since they won, they've just gone downhill. It has to be said. Real shame. Dancing in the Stars, if that had won Festival de Canção, maybe I'd be saying Portugal to qualify this year. But alas, moving up one, Poland next, Rafał with The Ride. Co-hosted Junior Eurovision last year, and I think he's better known as a TV presenter than a singer. This has dated written all over it. It's going for this 80s vibe. People have compared it to Blinding Lights by The Weeknd, but that song's way better. The music video to me was very awkward. I think it was trying to be cooler than it actually was. He was sort of strutting about with his posse, with the shades on, you know, looking all cool and everything. It just came across as a little bit cheesy to me. People are saying this is a guilty pleasure. There's no such thing as a guilty pleasure when it comes to Eurovision as far as I'm concerned, or in life in general. This is not bad, but I don't see too many points for this. Even if the diaspora go big for this, no, I don't see it as a qualifier. I imagine the performance might also be very forgettable. Poland will be performing 6th, coming after Austria, okay, but before Moldova. Which one is going to stand out more? It's going to be Natalia, isn't it? Moving up again, Austria, just mentioned them, Amen by Vincent Bueno. This is a bit underrated. I think it's a really beautiful, touching song, very personal to Vincent as well, I believe. The studio version, I really don't mind it. His voice sounds pretty good, even though it was quite a bog-standard music video in a way, nothing truly amazing going on. I liked it. There might be a fair amount of jury love here. I keep using that term, but it's true, there might be a fair bit of jury love for this one. Austria form over the past few years has been absolutely all over the place. You know, null point, you know, top 10 in the public half of the results, doesn't qualify, this, that and the other. Really inconsistent. This year, this might go through, but it would be by such a narrow margin. I really don't see Vincent going through comfortably at all, if indeed he does. I have it down here as an NQ. Let me know your thoughts. How is this going to be staged? I don't know. Maybe he'll be in a box, like the music video, and then the walls will fall down and he'll break free and run, and there'll be this big euphoric finale. I don't know. Moving up one again to Denmark, the song that is closing semi-final to Øvre Hinanden, Practice on Each Other, the first Danish language entry of the century. That has to be applauded. About time too. Fear og Flamme perform it. Two guys. And all of a sudden people are really starting to talk about this one. There's a fair bit of buzz around Denmark this year after DMGP was dismissed by many. It should be Ben and Tam, but alas. This song is nowhere near as bad as people say it is. It is dated, it's very 80s, it's a very throwback sort of song. It reminds me of Hot Eyes, who represented Denmark a couple of times in the 80s. That style is what we've got here. So it's sort of new 80s, if you will. It's very charming, and I've said before on this channel, if you have a song that is charming, you're in with a shot already. Remember Leonora 2 years ago? No, she won't go through, she won't go through. What's the big chair all about? Nearly top 10 in the final. People were charmed by it. And I think maybe the older generation will absolutely love this. When I showed my mother the recap of all of this year's songs, just before Denmark came on, I said, Mum, I bet you'll like this one. And she said, yeah, not bad, not bad. The vocals need to be a bit stronger, no doubt about that. I wonder if they're going to do in Rotterdam what they did in the national final, which is have the lead singer on this little podium closer to the front of the stage and then the guitarist further back. I think that was done because of social distancing, but still. It's just a very sweet song. I need to look at the English translation, but it's really good, and it's in Danish, so come on. Moving up one again to Latvia. This is The Moon is Rising by Samantha Tina. I'm thrilled that Samantha finally gets the chance to go to Eurovision because she's tried so many times in the past. Last year, Still Breathing would have been her entry. I wasn't a huge fan of that one. This effort I like even less, if I'm being totally honest with you. I find it quite messy. I find the melody fairly irritating. It's got this pop R&B feel to it. Samantha has such a big voice. But do you know what? It sounds harsh, but I think this song is a little bit cheap. I really do. It's thin on lyrics, particularly in the chorus. The music video's not too bad. It's sassy. It's got this diva-ish thing going on as well. If Latvia go through, fair play, because this is a country that really doesn't qualify very often these days. Form over the past decade has been generally very poor. But I see it missing out. Can't see the juries loving it at all. Can't see it happening. There will be some public love, yes, but otherwise, it's an NQ for me. If it does end up going through on the night, maybe in 10th place. We'll wait and see. Latvia are towards the end of proceedings in semi-final 2, coming after Finland and before Switzerland. And it's just almost a given that Finland and Switzerland will stand out more and get more points. We'll wait and see. What I'd like to see from Latvia is a song in Latvian. Come on now. It's happened once before, but that was a long time ago. So, that leaves two nations, and if you've been paying any sort of attention, you'll know that those two nations are Albania and Estonia. So, which one, feel free to leave a comment about this, which one do you think at this moment in time is more likely to go through? Albania or Estonia? Maybe you think both of them will go through, maybe you think both of them will miss out. Anyway, for me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, just checking that I haven't messed up here. I think it's Albania that will go through instead of Estonia. The Albanian entry is called Karma, and Shella Peristeri is performing it. It's another rather typical Albanian entry, it must be said. It's not strictly a ballad, it's a bit more mid-tempo. Albania is just brimming with great female vocalists. They really are. And Shella is a great singer. They revamped this. I like it more now. I'm not loving it, but Albania tends to sneak through more often than not these days. It happened last year, not last year, the year before, and even in 2018, not a lot of people were sure about Eugen's chances, but then he went through quite comfortably and did very well in the final. So yes, I can see Albania going through again, and this is 11th in the running order, in between Georgia and Portugal, and I think this one will stand out in between those two. This is a better song, arguably, than the Georgian and Portuguese entries. Really don't have too much else to say about it. Vocals, I'm sure they'll be great. It'll be a powerful performance. I think visually really is going to have to stand out, though, to stand any chance. There'll be some jury points, definitely. A fair dollop of public support as well. Mush them together, you're looking at maybe 85, 90 points in total. Potentially a narrow qualifier. Which means Estonia in 11th. This is Uku Savista with the lucky one. This is so much better than his effort last year. Came back to Eesti Laul, won it. Although if I recall, the voting jury in the Estonian selection weren't so keen on this entry. It was the public who really helped him. This song builds up quite nicely. He co-wrote it with Sharon Vaughan, and I don't mind the music video. I don't mind his voice. The Eesti Laul performance I thought was fairly weak, if I'm being honest. Wasn't such a fan of his voice there. He had these chains dangling down around him. I mean, he was belting it out, but it just felt really plain, really static. Didn't grab my attention at all. So something's got to change for Eurovision. And if it doesn't change, and we get something similar to what we've already seen, can't see Estonia going through. They're on second in the running order as well, which is always tough, in between San Marino, which will stand out way more than this Estonian track, and the Czech Republic, which is much more upbeat and more likely to be very vibrant as well. So yeah, don't have much else to say. This has been more rambly than my previous videos, so I apologise for that one. So I'll just recap My prediction, first proper prediction for the semi-final 2 results. Switzerland, Bulgaria, Finland, Iceland, Greece, San Marino, Serbia, Moldova, Czech Republic and Albania missing out. Estonia, Latvia, Denmark, Austria, Poland, Portugal and Georgia. In semi-final 1, I said yesterday, I'm really not sure about some nations, Russia and Ukraine, Australia in particular, Norway, Croatia, dearie me. In this semi-final, the only one I'm not sure about really at this moment in time is Albania. Maybe Estonia, maybe Latvia, Denmark if people are utterly charmed by them. Maybe Austria, can't see Poland doing it. No. And Portugal and Georgia, I think, just don't really have much of a chance at all. I'll hold up my notice board here. You won't really be able to see it terribly well. Just give me a moment. But yes, do let me know your predictions as well. And if you've got a YouTube channel, I'll check them out. I don't think I'm going to be able to do this terribly well. But these light blue slips here are in order. So Switzerland's this one just there. Are in order of, well, my prediction. And Georgia's the wonky one right here at the bottom. And I've written on each slip of paper just various bullet points talking about the songs. So the artist's name, the song's name, maybe something to do with the betting odds at this point, place in the running order, what fans are saying about it, because of course, you know, fans can vote in May. It's only a small percentage of the votes, but it might make a difference. And that's semi-final 1 right there. So that's it. My predictions for semi-final 2. Switzerland, well, it's either going to be Switzerland or Bulgaria who win this second semi-final. I don't see another nation doing it. Maybe Iceland at a push, but only if Victoria and John's Tears mess up on the night. Yes, we're getting ever closer. I'm really looking forward to it now. The CD's out soon. I've pre-ordered it. Looking forward to that coming. And that's it. Really don't have much else to say. A big ramble. I'll be back soon with another Eurovision 2021 related video. Thanks for all the support on the recent videos. It means a great deal to me. And take care of yourselves. Stay safe. Bye for now.